Welcome to Boredom Sated. I am Jonathan.
I'm Boris.
All right, so what we're doing today is we're talking about a top 5 list of fantasy-based TV series that are bingeable, but ours also have to be historical. Now, the general rule we made on historical meant basically pre-20th century, but there's obviously some wiggle room towards the end of that for our purposes. And for streamable and bingeable, what we generally used as a rule was making sure that you could spend a whole day watching TV if you wanted to, and also that it was on some sort of a streaming service that was easily accessible by anybody.
Yes.
So we both have our top 5 lists. They are mostly very different. So I will go ahead and start unless you want to.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
All right, so my number 5 is called Disenchanted. Disenchanted is Matt Groening, the creator of The Simpsons and Futurama, creating a comedy fantasy series. It's pretty hilarious. It's got a lot of fun characters in it. There's a little devil that they keep calling a cat, who is my favorite character. There's lots of fun things going on. It's available on Netflix, as it is a Netflix original series. They've currently put out the first half of part 2, I believe they're calling it. There is approximately, I think, 30 episodes available to stream. It's a lot of fun. It's very silly, and it is currently ongoing. I believe we are still waiting on the second half of season 2.
Yeah, I have to say it's pretty much The Simpsons, but with magic. And, it's that same humor. If you enjoy The Simpsons, you should enjoy this quite easily.
Yeah, I think of it as Futurama, but in the past instead of the future.
Yes, that's also a really good example. So my number 5 is the Shannara Chronicles, which originally was on MTV, but now is on Netflix. And I'm just a big fan of Shannara, all the books and things like that. It's really, in my opinion, really good fantasy reads, and the series was decent enough that you can binge. And they are coming out with the Sword of Shannara as a movie. So that's really interesting.
I've never heard of it. So
it's the Sword of Shannara is really good. I mean, it's the first book in the series, and if you really want,
what's the premise?
It's very Hobbish like, but instead of the ring, it's the sword. Okay. And instead of Gandalf, there's a druid, which is the combination of Aragorn, in my opinion, and Gandalf. But his view on universe and life is different than both of theirs.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Pretty much everything on my list is much more recent because of the fact that the ones from my past that I enjoy, I can't find streaming anywhere, so I couldn't put them on the list. Yeah. Number 4 for me is the Netflix original version of Castlevania. Yeah. The Netflix original version of Castlevania just put out season 3 a couple of months ago. They are renewed for a season 4, but it's probably going to be a while. The only reason why this is not higher on my list is because season 3 didn't get enough done. Season 3 was fun, but they didn't go anywhere. Like, each season had more and more episodes, and season 2 was so good, but season 3 they just didn't do much. If you don't know the concept behind Castlevania, I don't know why you're at this channel. Obviously video games, all sorts of things, Dracula, vampires, supernatural creatures, all that kind of fun stuff.
And it's animated.
It's animated, it's very good, and it's a lot of fun.
Yes, I agree. I enjoyed that, and there's some anime that I don't like the way they do it. This one I really like the way they do it. My number 4 is Hercules, the Journey of Hercules, which is on Amazon, and it's just a fun 1990s types of show that Continuity was a little bit, but
Who needs
who needs
continuity?
continuity? Exactly. It's each individual episode, and it was just two guys having fun, slaying monsters, and doing good deeds.
Yeah, if you like that kind of show, it's great. That kind of concept, like that and the next thing on your list, are definitely things that I enjoyed, but I like this kind of theories that I'm talking about a little more,
Right.
which are more dark fantasy.
Yes.
So my number 3 is called The Seven Deadly Sins. The Seven Deadly Sins is a wonderful anime show that is a Netflix exclusive in the United States. 3 seasons of it are out. The 4th season, I believe, according to what I've read, is coming out in October. And just watching the first half of the first season, you will have so many emotional responses to the way that things work. And if you can have positive emotional responses or just feel for the characters the way that they did it so well in this series, it's got to be up there. Now, the general idea here is there's magic, there's knights, there's demons, there's fairies. It's everything you want in a fantasy series. And the Seven Deadly Sins are basically each the heroes of the series who are named after an animal and a sin. And they are obviously, it's a group of 7 characters and all that kind of fun stuff. Lots of fun. I'm really, I loved it from the beginning.
I haven't had a chance to watch it, but I've seen the trailers, and I know there's a video game on it, and it's a manga. So usually anything that was a manga and transitioned, I have never not liked. So I think this is one of the things on my list to watch. So my number 3 is Xena. Because if you like Hercules, you have to like Xena. Again, no continuity, no real continuous storyline other than a little bit of 2 friends walking through beating up bad guys and just having a lot of fun. And the actress, come on.
Okay.
She, you know who she is, right?
Yeah, I do, but
yeah.
I'm wondering what exactly about her you're talking about.
Well, in the 90s, she was a tall looker.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So that leads us to my number 2. My number 2 is I'm moving away from Netflix to Amazon Prime, and this is an Amazon Prime original series, which is Carnival Row. Carnival Row is another dark fantasy series. There's a lot of racism in actual different races because it's different fantasy races. Basically, humans think that the Fae are mooching off of them because there's a war going on and they're losing the war and all sorts of things like that. It's a lot of fun. Again, a lot of emotional responses. As soon as season 1 was over, it had a good ending to the story, but they started a new story that looked to be so good. So season 2, I'm looking forward to so much. And sadly, season 2 was interrupted by the filming during COVID. So we don't know exactly when that's going to be restarting, but hopefully it will restart up sometime maybe over the summer. It's a really fun series. The only issue I have with this one is it's the only thing that I'm talking about that is only 1 season. But that 1 season was very, very good.
Right. I saw it. I really liked it. You're absolutely right. It's very dark. And the thing I really liked about it is it really brought out the 1800s to the forefront. It's very realistic in the way 1800s are, even though it has magic and fays and things like that.
Yep.
So my number 2, and it was a close call between this one being number 2 and the number 1, and when you see the number one, it's clear why it's number one. But my number two is Record of Lotus Wars. It's just one of such amazing anime. It's the first series is just the better ones, and you have everything. If you're a fan of role playing, there's everything. There's why people go out adventuring and they start. There's level progression. There's magic. There's dark elves. There's everything you really like about role playing is in the series. They really make the characters exactly what you would envision a dwarf, an elf, a human, a paladin all be. It's just a fantastic overall series, and there's just no reason not to binge it.
Now, there is one reason not to binge it, and that is because of the fact that it is not on a major streaming service.
That's true.
We did look it up. However, you can binge it on the Funimation streaming service. You can probably do it on, I assume there's a good chance that you might be able to do it on something like Crunchyroll as well, but I don't know. But you can get a 10-day or 30-day free trial on the Funimation streaming service, so if you want to watch it, you could do it that way.
Right. And if you're willing to pay, it is available on Amazon.
Yeah, but we're not counting any of that.
Right.
But the thing is that, again, I have a Funimation account, so if I wanted to watch it, I can. Funimation account is like $6.99 a month or something like that.
Yeah.
All right, so number one, and our number one, I believe, is the same.
Yes.
The only thing that is the same, and I'm pretty sure most people are probably already going to guess it, it's Game of Thrones.
Yeah, exactly.
So, obviously, I have a little bit of a caveat here, which is that first 5 seasons were great. The first 5 seasons are probably one of the best first 5 seasons of any series ever.
And you can't really say 6 and 7 seasons were bad.
You can't say they were bad, but you also really can't say they were that good.
No, not compared to the first 5.
No. Seasons 6 and 7 are mediocre, are decent, but not great. And season 8 was, season 8, it's like, they have a chance. They dropped the ball. Yeah. Season 8 was kind of trash. Yeah. But overall, the series is still fantastic. Overall, there's wonderful acting, wonderful everything. It's going to be a time until we even get another series like Game of Thrones in the beginning. And obviously it is because the parts that were based on the book were amazing, and the parts that weren't based on the book were not amazing.
Yep. No, I agree. And there's something to be said, with a lot of series out there that end after 5 seasons. I think Game of Thrones was a good example of why other series do that, but...
Or maybe they should have just gone with the community route and said 6 seasons in a movie.
That's true. They could have done that. But yeah, Game of Thrones, it has everything. The suspense, the characters, the magic, the dragon, just everything is fantastic about it. I mean, you just buy into it with every episode.
Absolutely. So obviously, Game of Thrones is available on anywhere you can get your HBO products. Yeah. Hulu has you can buy an HBO through Hulu. There's an Amazon where you can buy HBO through Amazon, or you can do any of the HBO-based products. My general suggestion to anyone who does not have that right now is they are doing a deal until the release of HBO Max in a couple of weeks, where you can do a year's subscription for 20% off. So you can get for $11.99 a month instead of $14.99 a month for the next year.
Right.
And if you do that, you will get the HBO Max subscription service, which will include many shows that are wonderful, wonderful things to be able to watch. So that's another option out there. Yeah. Now, obviously, we have a bit of a difference in the style of shows that we're talking about. Most of what I'm talking about is more dark fantasy, where he's going with more high adventure fantasy. Yeah. The one show that I would have liked to include just isn't streamable, but would have been more along the lines of what he was talking about. And that would have been Jack of all trades with, of course, the incomparable Bruce Campbell.
Yes.
Ridiculous television show, very hilarious, only 22 episodes, but it is not currently available on any streaming service. That would be my honorable mention if we had one.
Yeah. But just to let everybody know, we're not sponsored by any of these show channels to mention them or anything. But if you Netflix or HBO want to sponsor us, please give us a call. We'll be more than happy to accept.
Yeah, obviously, we're just these are just things that we happen to have because boredom.
Yes.
And this is what states our boredom. So
Yes.
that gets us to the ending of our video here. Again, if you want to put up your own list, if you want to ask about anything else like that, feel free. Like, subscribe, notification, all that jazz.
We thank you. Please stay safe. And this is Boredom saying enjoy.